So the Oedipal situation, roughly speaking, is when, I'll lay out the classic story, is when a child is seriously overprotected, usually a male child by his mother. Now the reverse can be the case, and it can be a female child by the mother and all of that, but I'll just talk about the classic case to begin with. Now, what Freud observed was that there were usually not very good boundaries in families like that. And so the relationship between the husband and the wife was either strained or non-existent. And the wife would often turn to the child to be what she isn't getting from the husband. And so there's a great South Park episode about this. A wonderful South Park episode where I don't remember, that horrible little guy is that's him, yeah. And his mother brings in the dog whisperer to train him. And it's a brilliant episode. If you want to learn about the Freudian Oedipal situation, you watch that, you've got it down cold, because she brings in this expert who then she wants to have an affair with, so that's a boundary issue. And he basically separates her son from him and imposes the same discipline on him that he would impose on a bad dog. Although he also trains the dog's owners all the time, because maybe it's not the dog, maybe it's the owner. Anyways, what happens in the South Park episode is that the dog whisperer gets Cartman, straightened out. And he starts like dressing properly and doing his homework, and the mother is pursuing an affair with the dog whisperer, but he's professional. He keeps his distance, like he keeps boundaries around him. And then he leaves, and then the first thing that she does when he leaves is bribe Cartman basically out of doing his homework so that he can accompany her to, I don't know, a fast food restaurant or something like that. And so the reason she does that is because she's lonesome and doesn't have anybody else around, and maybe she's also deeply, deeply, deeply terrified that if she helps that boy grow up, he will leave and she'll have nothing. And so mothers who don't have something, say, outside their infants, not merely their children, are more likely to fall into that. And it's no wonder, you got to think that through. And lots of women most women really fall in love with their babies, And so even if they start growing into larger children, that can be threatening, because, well, when the infant turns into a toddler, the infant is dead. The toddler is there now. And you can radically interfere with that process. That happens all the time. That's the classic Freudian Oedipal nightmare. And that episode is brilliant. It's bloody brilliant. It just nails it. And some of you have been in my personality class and watched Crumb, the documentary Crumb. And that's another staggering exposition of exactly that kind of pathology. The Oedipal mother basically entices the child. Says, look, here's the deal. You don't have to do anything, but you don't get to leave. But if you don't leave and you don't do these difficult things, then I'll take care of you. And the child has a choice all the way along there. I mean, obviously, he's outclassed in some sense, but it's not as obvious as you'd think. Little kids are tough, and they make decisions all the time. And so Jung thought about it more as a conspiracy than as something imposed on the child by the mother. And I really like, it's actually a conspiracy between mother, father, and child, actually. And I think that's a good way of looking at it, even though it's really rough, because, well, should you hold the child responsible? Well, yes, but judiciously and not completely, because then if you deal with someone like that as an adult and they're trying to escape from it, you have to go all the way back and figure out how the hell it happened, and then they have to adjust. They have to figure out where they opened the door, like inviting a vampire in, because they can't come in unless you invite them in, So don't invite them in, because once they're in, they're really hard to get rid of, and they'll take all your blood. So that's a cautionary tale.